If you tend to replay conversations in your mind long after they're over, psychology suggests there's something uncommon about how your brain handles social interactions. Not paranoid, not obsessive, not anxious. Uncommon. Because most people don't analyze conversations deeply enough to replay them at all. They forget what was said within hours, sometimes even minutes. You don't. You remember the exact words that were used. You replay the tone behind them. You revisit body language, facial expressions, pauses and silences. You look for meaning not only in what was said, but in what wasn't. And at some point, you were probably told that this means you're overthinking, that you should let it go, that you're reading too much into things, that you need to move on or stop dissecting every word. But psychology tells a very different story. Replaying conversations isn't random. It isn't a defect. It's analytical. It's structured. It follows patterns. And in many cases, it's connected to a specific set of cognitive and emotional abilities that only a small percentage of people possess. If you replay conversations repeatedly, breaking down every detail, you likely have at least some of these 6 rare traits. By the end of this video, you'll understand why your mind works this way and why it's not something you need to fix. Let's begin. Trait number 1, heightened social awareness. If you replay conversations, your brain is tuned to notice social cues that most people completely overlook. This goes far beyond simple observation. It means operating at a level of social perception that can feel mentally exhausting. While most people focus only on the words being spoken, you're simultaneously processing tone, micro-expressions, hesitation, word choice, and emotional undercurrents. Your mind is running several layers of analysis at the same time. And this process doesn't stop when the conversation ends. Your brain keeps working because it hasn't finished analyzing yet. The replay isn't obsession. It's your mind completing its natural process. Psychology refers to this as high social monitoring. Research shows that people with this trait often grew up in environments where accurately reading others was necessary for emotional or physical safety. Maybe you had to sense a parent's mood before speaking. Maybe you learned early that people don't always say what they truly mean. Maybe you discovered that missing subtle signals could lead to conflict, rejection, or punishment. So your brain adapted. It became exceptionally skilled at reading between the lines. And even now, in safe situations, it continues doing what it was trained to do: analyze, evaluate, prepare. This is why you might replay a conversation with a coworker and suddenly realize hours later that their brief hesitation before agreeing actually meant disagreement, or why you can tell someone is upset even when they insist everything is fine. You're not imagining things. You're processing information most people never consciously register. This level of social perception is rare. Studies suggest only around 15 to 20% of people have this heightened sensitivity to social dynamics. Yes, it can feel heavy because you notice things others don't. Sometimes you wish you could switch it off, but it's also a powerful strength. You understand people at a depth most never reach. You navigate complex social situations with precision. You sense when someone needs support before they ask. You detect manipulation, dishonesty, and emotional shifts that others miss entirely. Your mind replays conversations because it's exceptionally good at reading people. That's not a flaw, it's a gift. Trait number 2, deep emotional processing. People who replay conversations don't just think about what was said, they feel it. Long after the words are spoken, the emotional weight remains. Your mind keeps returning to the moment because it's trying to process not just the information, but the emotional impact behind it. Most people experience emotions briefly and then move on. You don't. Your emotional system operates at a deeper level. You feel things longer, more intensely, and with greater complexity. When someone says something that stings, even slightly, your brain doesn't just register it and forget. It replays it, examines it, and searches for meaning.
Psychologists call this high emotional depth, and it's closely associated with a trait known as sensory processing sensitivity. People with this trait, often referred to as highly sensitive people, make up about 20% of the population. They process emotional experiences more thoroughly than others. If you replay conversations, there's a strong chance you fall into this group. You don't just hear words, you feel the emotions behind them. You sense restraint, disappointment, frustration, or sadness, even when it's hidden behind polite language. And because your emotional processing runs so deep, you can't simply move on from conversations the way others do. Your mind needs time to fully understand what happened, what was felt, and what it means. The replay is part of that process. It can be exhausting. You may wonder why you can't let things go like everyone else seems to, why a casual comment stays with you for days, why you're still thinking about a conversation from weeks ago. But what this really means is that you experience life at an emotional depth most people never reach. You're capable of deep empathy, meaningful connection, and emotional intelligence that others simply don't possess. You understand not just what people say, but what they feel, and that's rare. Your depth isn't a weakness, it's a strength. Trait number 3, pattern recognition and predictive thinking. When you replay conversations, your brain isn't stuck in the past, it's preparing for the future. You're not revisiting words without purpose, you're identifying patterns, searching for clues, and anticipating what might come next. This is known as predictive social modeling. It's a cognitive ability that allows the brain to anticipate outcomes based on subtle information. When you replay a conversation, you're unconsciously asking questions like, what did that tone mean? Were they being honest? Did I say something wrong? Are they upset? What will happen the next time we interact? These aren't irrational fears, they're probability assessments. This trait often develops in people who grew up in unpredictable environments, where moods shifted suddenly or where managing other people's emotions was necessary. Their brains learned that predicting outcomes reduced risk and prevented harm, so they became skilled at identifying behavioral patterns. Even now, in safe situations, your mind continues running this program. It replays conversations to collect data, to spot inconsistencies, to anticipate outcomes. This is why you may sense distance in a friend before it becomes obvious, and more often than not, you're right. Trait number 4, high self-awareness and reflection. People who replay conversations are deeply self-reflective. You don't just analyze others, you analyze yourself, how you spoke, what you said, how you came across, whether you expressed yourself clearly. This is called metacognitive awareness, thinking about your own thinking, and it's far less common than most people realize. Many people never examine their behavior at this level. You do, constantly. Sometimes this turns into self-criticism, replaying moments you wish you'd handled differently. But it's also a powerful engine for growth. You care about how you show up in the world. You want to connect authentically. That level of reflection is linked to emotional intelligence and personal development. The key is balance. Self-awareness needs self-compassion. The fact that you care this deeply is not a weakness. It's proof of integrity and depth. Trait number 5, trauma-informed hypervigilance. For many people, replaying conversations is rooted in past emotional experiences. Psychology calls this hypervigilance, a nervous system that constantly scans for threat, even in safe environments. This often develops in response to emotional neglect, criticism, inconsistency, or relational trauma. Your brain learned that monitoring interactions was necessary for safety, so it replays them, searching for signs of rejection or danger. This isn't a personality flaw. It's an adaptation, one that once protected you. And understanding this allows healing to begin. Trait number 6, exceptional verbal memory. If you replay conversations, you likely have a strong memory for spoken language. You remember exact phrasing, tone, pauses, sometimes word for word. This is known as high verbal working memory, and only a portion of people have it. This ability supports storytelling, communication, conflict resolution, and deep interpersonal understanding. Yes, it means you carry more emotional weight, but it's also a rare cognitive strength.
So if you replay conversations, you're not broken. You're perceptive, emotionally deep, pattern-oriented, self-aware, vigilant, and gifted with strong memory. The goal isn't to stop analyzing entirely, it's to understand why you do it, and to work with your mind instead of against it. You're not overthinking, you're thinking deeply, and that's not a flaw, that's a gift.